Warning, the following video may result in you getting feels. The thread, Anon's deaf wife, is a sweet feels thread with many different aspects to it. It is not entirely safe for work, however it is not lewd or graphic in any way, nor does it violate any of YouTube's content or community guidelines. Thanks so much for watching guys, and I hope you enjoy. Wife has been deaf since childhood. As a child, she would read a lot of books, and one day came across some manga. She can speak, but it isn't the best sounding English. One night, after watching anime with her, she tells me that she wants to show me. She tells me to close my eyes, and I do. She gives me the word, and I open my eyes to see her dressed up as Sailor. It's not that bad of a costume, and I happen to love things like this. We make our way to the bed, and she begins to remove her panties. I tell her to leave them on as she does, and we begin. I realize that she was the one who got into my FAP folder. I have two major fetishes, cosplay and dirty talking. As I continue thrusting, I pray to God she doesn't, but it's too late. She begins to scream, "Oh yeah, give it to me harder, Anon. Fuck me like an animal. Oh, you like Sailor Moon pussy? Oh yeah, you do." I burst into laughter. My wife stalls to ask me what's wrong. I play it off as a coughing fit and continue. She begins again. "Oh yeah, I love it when you touch me there." Oh shit, I've got to think fast. I flip her over and we continue. I continue laughing as hard as I ever have. Crisis averted, although I'm going to hell for it. I have more, but it doesn't go along with this topic. For instance, have to fart real bad. Wife is in the room. Fart knowing she can't hear it, and it was loud as fuck. The smell was fucking horrible. I laugh as we continue watching TV. She starts sniffing. My dumbass begins to realize that she can still smell. She looks at me and says, "Anon, that's fucking gross," and hits me in the arm. I have a loving, faithful wife who has the same hobbies as me and well-paying job as a programmer. My wife isn't a hand beast either. She's definitely at least a 7 out of 10. Here's another one. Out walking with my wife to the store. We get there and the line is huge. We forgot a cart, so we were holding all of the groceries in our hands. It's almost our turn. A 6'2", 300-pound man and his girl cuts in front of us with a cart. My wife is not happy. "Who do you think you are, buddy? We've been here for 20 minutes and I'll be damned if you think you could go before us." The man turns to my wife, and from the look of his glasses and how he holds the girl, we realize he's blind. My wife suddenly apologizes for getting upset, and I'm laughing uncontrollably. You and your waifu must have a hard time going through Karawa Shujo, huh? We actually played through together. She got pissed when she asked me who my favorite girl is, and I said Rin. When we first started dating, things were just as great. One time in particular was memorable. We'd been dating for about 2 months, and it was going great. I got her house number from her dad, and I call. He answers. "Hi, this is Anon. May I speak with your daughter?" He begins to laugh himself into a coughing fit. Realize what he was laughing about. I am a dumbass. I tell him I'll be over in an hour. I get there and tell her what I did. "You're a dumbass." This was one of only a few situations where we both laughed. The next tale is a very special time for us. Dating for about 3 months now, and I invite her over. I show her my DVD collection. She picks up The Princess Bride. I start the movie and press play. After about 3 minutes, I realize that she's staring at me. "Is something wrong, hun?" "Guess." She points at the TV. I realize once again that I am a dumbass, and I quickly turn on the subtitles. She giggles. I smile and join in. We snuggle on the couch and begin to get intimate. I begin to touch her, and she yelps. I quickly retract my hand and apologize. She grabs my retracted hand, and as I gaze into her eyes, "I think I'm ready to make love." Insta-boner. I slowly undress her. She looks so fragile. She tells me she loves me for the first time, and I immediately reply the same. We made love for the first time that night. It was both of our firsts. It was both awkward and amazingly beautiful. I knew that night that she was the only one I'd ever loved this much. How about, for my last one for the night, I tell you all how we met? Alright then. I had just graduated from high school and needed a job. Being from a small town, jobs were hard to find, so I had to move in with my aunt in a more rural area to find a job and get ready for college. On one of my job searches, I noticed a small bookstore. I go in and ask for an application, but the woman was buried in her book. I noticed that the book is actually a manga. I tap her on the shoulder. In her surprise, the young woman yelped. I apologize for startling her. I ask her if she has any applications. She passes me one over the counter. I notice she is still blushing and holding the manga behind her back. I think she might be embarrassed, as I say. My favorite is Maze Hughes. She is somewhat surprised by this remark. Mine's Mustang. It was at this point I noticed that her voice was odd. I thanked her and went on my way. I ended up getting the job, and I eventually found out from her father that she was deaf. She could still read lips and speak fairly well. We began to slowly connect with each other. We would discuss our favorite manga and anime. We were becoming closer each day, until one day she was acting more down than usual. I heard from her dad that her mother had died when she was 7. I get her to talk to me after she avoided me for most of the week. I kept pressing her to tell me what was the matter. She eventually broke into tears. I brought her out back and she told me about her mother. I tried to console her. She was crying louder than I think she knew. She told me I don't understand. I correct her and tell her that she's wrong. My mother died when I was 5 from breast cancer. She cried in my arms for at least an hour. When we finished, we went back to work. Before we closed up, she told me, "Please don't tell anyone about today." With her eyes still red from crying, I could say anything but, of course not. After that day, she began to open up to me. We'd sometimes sit side by side and read. I began to develop feelings for her. After work, I invited her out to eat at the pizza place beside the bookstore. She, to my surprise, agreed to go. She got spaghetti. At one point, she still had that sauce ring around her mouth. I laughed and passed her a napkin. She looked at me with her head cocked. I pointed to my mouth to mirror. She became flustered and began to wipe her mouth. We exit after we finish. She begins to text her dad. Now is my chance. I nervously ask her if she'd mind doing it again sometime. She blushes a bit and looks at her feet. "If you're alright with me bumming food from you." I asked her out for tomorrow after work. All jokes aside, who's ready for a good old-fashioned story? Alright then, kiddies, gather round. I'll tell you about the time we went to the zoo. After 6 months of dating, we decided to take a trip. I had been saving up money from my paycheck each week. I finally had enough to take her someplace other than around town. We head out on a Saturday to go to a nearby zoo. Ride takes us about an hour. Wife is visually frustrated from having nothing to do. I remembered to bring my Game Boy and her favorite game, Super Mario World. We arrive and unpack. I noticed that she packed lunch. I had just planned on eating out, but this is the first time I've been able to eat her cooking, so fuck that shit. We look around. She sees the deer, one which seemed to be an infant. She daws with the cutest face ever. We walk to the tigers, which she hasn't noticed yet, due to her habit of looking at me when we walk. Tiger roars, and wife doesn't notice until I point it out. Her face is about 1.5 feet from the tiger as she jumps and squeaks. She notices I'm laughing and hits me in the shoulder. To make it up to her, I bring her to the petting zoo. Her eyes light up and she wastes no time getting in. Give her some animal food. She smiles a wide grin and starts to pet the goat. After about 3 hours, we head to the car to eat what she prepared. It was just some of the sandwiches she made. They looked like normal sandwiches, but holy fuck, they were great. I continually tell her of my satisfaction, and she replies only by blushing and smiling with that grin of hers. I reach into the back seat, and I pull out a box. Her eyes begin to water. I found out today was her birthday. About a month before this trip from her father, she opened the box with little patience or regard for the wrapper. It was a picture of an apartment. She looked confused. I tell her, "It's a one-bedroom apartment that I've rented. I was wondering if you'd mind keeping me company." She is in awe. She begins to cry a bit. "Are you sure you want to move in together?" "I don't think I could stand to be apart from you. So what do you think?" She starts to nod her head rapidly. We got back to my new apartment that night and she slept on the couch in each other's arms. It was still about a week until she moved in with me, but that first night together in our new apartment was nothing short of magical. For the next story, would you like to hear about our first pet? After about 7 months of dating, she tells me she gets bored when I'm in classes, so we head out to a nearby mall to pick up a new game for the Game Boy. On the way there, she asks if we can stop at the pet store to look at the animals. She loves those cute little critters. There is absolutely no way in hell I can say no to her when she puts on her "please" face. We get in, and she immediately runs to the hamsters. She's like a little kid in a candy store, going to each animal, one after another, rapid fire. Almost an hour in, I tell her it's time to go. She becomes instantly bummed. I tell her we can come back on the weekend. She reluctantly follows me out of the store. We get her a game, Pokemon Emerald. She is happy about the game, but seems more upset than usual after leaving the pet store. Decide right then and there that I'm going to get her a pet. I tell her father about this. He informs me that his friend at the mill has a dog that had given birth to a litter and is looking for a home for them. Bingo. He brings her out for lunch as I head on my quest for a puppy. I get there and see the puppies. I notice that one of them is especially cute. He is black with a little white spot on his nose. Double bingo. I take him to the pet store, grab him a collar, food, and a bed, get home and prepare for the dog. She gets home about half hour after I do. She calls out to me, "Anon, I'm home." Walk out with the puppy behind my back. He's fussing around. She's confused until she sees the tail. "What's that, Anon?" "It's our puppy, hun." "Really?" I let the puppy down and he starts jumping at her leg, barking and being cute and shit. She is dawing. I receive a kiss for my efforts. Puppy sleeps in the middle of the bed that night, and still does now, rendering the bed I got him useless. She would always be sitting with him on the couch when I got home. Once in a while, they'd be asleep, the puppy on her tummy, her head on the cushion with a bit of drool rolling down her cheek. Ugh. We've had that dog for about 5 years now. OP, I'm assuming you are no longer with her since you keep referring to her in the past tense? Didn't notice that, but no. What's the puppy's name? Breed? I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you his name. His name is Dozer, and he's a pit bull. Soon, he'll tell us about the time when she died slowly in a hospital bed, holding his hand. No, wait, she gets hit by a bus she couldn't hear, and due to her habit of looking at him. Stop trying to kill off Def Chan, fuckers. I know it's all in good fun, but could you guys please stop playing it off as my wife died? Well, you do keep referring to her in the past tense in all of your stories. We just assume she's no longer with us. That's because these stories are in the past. This can't be that perfect. Tell us about all the bad stuff. Sure, we have our share of disagreements, but I'm sure you don't want to hear about that. The fuck we don't. Pissed off Def Chan sounds like a hoot. Fine then. I'll do this one after then. We were watching The Labyrinth on DVD. Dog pisses on the floor. Puppies will be puppies, but I have to discipline him. I put his nose in it and put him outside. Wife is visibly upset with me, and I begin to clean the carpet. She tells me that I'm a meanie. I try to tell her that it's for his own good. She closes her eyes and gives me the double silent treatment. After about 5 minutes, I give in. I bring the puppy inside and put it to her face. He begins to lick her, and we finish the movie. One day, we go out to get some food for the dog. She wants to get him a toy. She goes up to his squeaking toy. You know, you squeeze it and it squeaks. In fact, the case says, "Squeeze me, please." She becomes confused why a dog would want a frog doll or why you should squeeze it. I don't have the heart to tell her why. I feel bad and bring her to go get ice cream at a local parlor. She doesn't know why we went, but she gladly gets a scoop of cookies and cream ice cream. She was so cute trying to figure out what it did. It was equally daw and baw. Hot as balls out. Easily 90 degrees outside. Sweating my balls off. Me and the missus are sitting on the couch and watching the news. Low 90 all day. I'm wearing a t-shirt and she's wearing my wife beater. No bra, by the way. Both sticky from sweat. Decide I want to take a shower. She gets an invite. Invite accepted. We start to strip on the way to the shower. If you have never seen a woman sticky with sweat take off a wife beater with no bra on, I have to say you should put that on the list. Both washing in the shower. Wife is obviously not in the mood to fool around. Have to use the mind of steel to keep little Anon from reaching critical mass. We finish off and head back to the couch, both saying fuck clothes. We return to melting on the couch. It's too hot out. We could go to the beach, I suggest. Sure. I tell her to get ready, realizing that I haven't seen her in a bathing suit. Aw shit, .png. Think about that the whole ride there. We get there, packed. I suggest we walk around a bit, find a nice place to set up. We both head to the restrooms nearby, finish changing first. The wait hurt my heart, guys. Why must women take so long? She comes out 5 minutes later with her hair in a ponytail. Oh fuck my heart. Cute fucking bikini, which was yellow with orange polka dots. She is obviously self-conscious though. She looks at her feet as her toes play with the grass. I tell her she looks amazing and I couldn't possibly overstate this. She's still shy and aware. I hold her hand and start leading her to the water. She reminds me of suntan lotion. We apply it all over, using each other's help. We finally enter the water, still fairly early in summer, so some shrinkage and slowly waiting. Decide to be a man and dive right in because fuck cold. Turn around to see that she is visibly not amused. I realize my feet splashed her. I apologize. She splashes me. Oh, it's on. Tidal wave. Critical hit, and she lets out a gasp. She is now soaked. Gives me the guess who's not having sex tonight look. Thank God that pissed off face turns into laughter. We splash and swim. I inflate her tube and tow her around for a while. She wants to go faster. Engaging warp speed. After we get tired, we pack our stuff back in the car and head over to the pier. It's arcade time, and I get my ass stomped at Street Fighter. Finally get some grub at a stall on the pier. She gets some fries and a soda, and a hamburger for me. Starts to get dark. Ask her if she wants to head out. Not yet. She tells me she wants to go swimming at night. We hang out on the pier until it gets dark. After getting my ass handed to me at almost every game in the arcade but skeetball, I am a god at skeetball, we went out to the beach. We have to stick close to the pier because we need the light. We wade through the water and walk across the shore. The water is much colder at night, so nothing past our knees. The moon is near full and reflecting off of the water. She starts to yawn. It's time to go. She holds my arm till we get to where we park. We both get in, and I can see she is visibly tired. On the ride home, she sleeps as I listen to the radio. I get home. I open my door and go to wake her. Her head is resting up against the window. I wake her with a gentle nestle. She comes to and has a bit of drool rolling down her cheek. You have no idea how cute this is to me. We head in and fall asleep on the bed, still in our bathing suits, still sticky from the water. She wakes me in the morning for a shower, put the blanket in the washer, washing and shit. Today is much better, 70 degrees, almost finished washing. She gives me the love nudge. Aw yeah. The first time we went to the vet to get the shots and the vaccine for the dog. She has been dreading today. She's fidgeting in the car with Dozer on her lap. She's petting him as he puts his head out the window. Get there and sign in. I read a Sports Illustrated, not really enjoying the stories, but she is still anxious and I'm laughing a bit, so I have to pretend it's because of the magazine and hope she doesn't catch on. I hear my name being called by the assistant. I notify her that it's his turn. She slowly rises and follows me to the vet. The doctor tells her to put him on the table. She didn't hear him because she was looking at the dog and me. I motion her to the table. She catches on and slowly puts him down. The doctor begins to examine. tells us everything is fine, tells us to hold him down as he readies the first shot. Wife is afraid of needles and is a very sympathetic person, winces with each shot. The puppy is fine, she's the only one showing discomfort. Afterwards, we head out to get a treat at the local ice cream parlor. They have ice cream for dogs, and it was her idea to get him some for being a brave boy. With all she's done today, I wonder how she'll be when we have kids. Become embarrassed, and then she spoiled him for the rest of that day. This is the closest we've come in regards to family planning. Resting on the couch with her on my lap, and the dog at our feet, flipping through channels. She sees a baby and her mom playing on some TBS special. She's smiling and saying how cute the baby is. She looks at me and makes a comment on how much she wants a baby. Oh shit. Isn't it a bit early to be thinking about children? I mean, I'm still getting my degree and I just don't think that we have enough money saved. She starts to laugh. Of course it's very early. I was just saying I can't wait to have a baby with you. We talk about what conditions we should meet before we begin to attempt baby making. Finish the night watching Gilligan's Island. We've met most of our goals, we just need to find a bigger place and we might have to start some youngins running around. Of course, I also learned sign language, so here's a story. Our dog was going through a chewing phase. Remote, cell phone, DVD cases, etc. just chewed right up. I discipline him each time, but he doesn't seem to get the message. One day I come home from school to find that our couch has been ripped up with bite marks everywhere. Wife had been sleeping on the bed when it happened. I inform her after a gentle awakening. We converse our options. We decide that the couch is insalvageable. I call her dad to see if he would mind bringing the couch to the dump and watching the dog while we go out to get a new one. He comes by the next day and helps me load the couch into the bed of his truck. Afterwards, he heads out with Dozer and we go to look at furniture. Wife is distraught. That couch was the location of our first and held high sentimental value. I get a call from her dad and he asks me if I want to keep the couch's feet, saying that having replacement feet are nice to have just in case. I tell him to keep them. I just got a plan. We look through them to see if she likes any. I'm a simple man and as long as she likes it, it's fine. She finds one that looks like it can fit 3. It's comfy and it's within our price range. We end up getting it and they say it should ship within 2 business days. I call up her father and tell him that he might need to keep the dog for a few days so we can clean and have some alone time. He says it's no problem. We get a call from the store 3 days later saying that the couch should be arriving around 12. I call her dad to get his help. Be right over. The truck comes around 2:20. We take it into the house. I ask him if he brought what I asked, and he did. Put our old couch's feet on the new one, and keep the new ones as replacements. She is all lovey because of it. We thank her dad for all of his help as he leaves. I love that old man as much as my old man. She is still a little bummed about the loss of our couch. I suggest we christen our new couch. Let's just say she put me in the suggestion box. Dozer stopped chewing stuff when we got him back as well. Started to believe that her father is some sort of wizard. I kid about the wizard part, but he truly is a great man. Me and him are pretty tight. He wants to go fishing, but all of his buds are either out on work or he had a lot of friends that are truck drivers. He calls me and asks me if I can come. Nothing to do that day, so I say yes. I would have tried to go, even if I had plans. He arrives around 6 a.m. I ask if she wants to come with us. She tells me that she wouldn't want to be a third wheel. I say, oh, okay. Realize she just said a gay joke about me. Look back at it, and she's laughing. Well, I'll have to get her back for that later. We get to the lake at around 7. We back up the boat into the water and get out there. I hate fishing, but the old man is telling me stories about his youth. He gets to his wife. He tells me how they met, when they got married, all about her. He was smiling the entire time he reminisced. Even though he's smiling, he still has tears in his eyes and makes no attempts to hide it. She sounded like a wonderful woman, I tell him, my voice giving off my emotion. She reminded me of my mom. She was. She always smiled and I couldn't help but fall for her. But now that she's gone, all I have left is my house, my boat, my truck, and my daughter. Please take care of her. She really likes you and she smiles a lot more than she used to since you came around. Of course, sir. Thank you. You know, I always wanted a son like you. You should have seen how bummed I was when we had a girl." We laughed, lightening the mood significantly. We head back around 7 p.m. We say our goodbyes, and I head inside. I am greeted by her with a, "How was your date?" You know, your dad's a real slut. Didn't even take any force at all to ram it in. You might want to learn a few things from him. The look on her face was evidence enough who the victor was. We laugh away the discomfort in the air. Even without what happened last night, I can still say it was truly an amazing day. Just went to check on my wife. She has one of her legs off the side of the bed. She is slightly snoring, drool rolling down her cheek, shirt slightly raised, exposing her belly button. I laugh to myself. I move her hair to the side and kiss her forehead gently as to not wake her. I truly love this woman. In fact, I think it might be time for me to lay down and join her.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Patreon.